A lot of you have been asking me about my vintage computer collection. So today I've decided to showcase three of the units which hold the most significance, and at the end of this video I'll do a detailed description for you to read explaining their heritage. So firstly, what you're looking at here is a 1977 Radio Shack TRS-80 Model 1 Level 2 computer. The significance of this actual unit that you're looking at is this is the very first personal computer that was ever sold in Australia. It was given to me in December of 1977, and I've had it ever since. Now we'll move across to the second computer, which is actually my favourite one. There we go, it's running buzzard bait. This is a Apple II computer. It was released in 1977, but I didn't acquire this one until January 1978. It was a month after I actually got the Tandy computer. The significance of this particular one is the fact that I have been working within the Apple computer industry for the past 35 years, and I have been an Apple fan ever since I got this one as a kid. And I've been very, very fortunate in to be able to keep this one alive and working, and it's got a very, very good little piece of lineage that goes with it. Now I'll quickly try and see if I can do this without having to put down the camera, but for me to show you exactly what I'm talking about, I'll just have to remove the monitor and the two floppy drives. So whilst buzzard bait is exciting to watch and even better to play, we'll just sit here and try and remove the monitor, as hard as it actually is to do. There we go, you're just looking at the top of it here because I've got my hand on the camera and at the monitor at the same time. There we go, there's the top of the unit. I'll just move these Disk 2 drives out of the way. They're on very short cables, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to move them, but I'll just do that. There's one out of the way. And here is the other one out of the way. Now you've probably already seen what I'm trying to show you here. There is the lid of the computer. I'll just set it back a bit. That's the actual computer itself there. Now to my knowledge, this is the only Apple II computer in the entire world that has been signed by both Apple co-founders. Now I'll give you an explanation as to what happened here and how I acquired these, but I'll give you a detailed description again in the description following this video. Firstly, what you're looking at there is the autograph of Steve Jobs. Now, it's a little bit ratty because of the feet from the Disk 2 here actually sit on top of this, and he signed this lid for me in this manner without putting his name up the top here, actually just as a way of not getting the feet to rub out his signature. Now, what happened was that in the late 80s, and actually no, it was the early 80s, Steve Jobs actually did come to Australia. I don't think he was actually here on a business visit, but I do know that he visited Apple Australia at the time, and a couple of its only existing resellers, which I worked for. I was very young at the time and was just starting out in the industry, but he came over here with some of his family, and I was actually asked to do some errands for his family, which I did, and being the Apple fan that I was, I brought in my lid and asked him before he had actually left if he would autograph it for me, and he did, pretty much. Now, he was taken aghast by this because at that stage not many people really knew who he was, and in fact in Australia I don't think anybody really knew who he was. So he was quite surprised that I actually wanted his autograph, but nevertheless he went and did it for me, and he shook my hand, said hello. I spoke with him for about 10 minutes. So in that 10 minutes I've been very fortunate to have met Steve Jobs, and have never regretted that ever since. Going a few years later, I did actually meet Steve Wozniak, but I didn't have my lid with me at the stage that I met him. But a few years ago, I was able to bump into him again, and I asked if it was possible if I could send the lid in and for him to autograph it, and he did. And he's actually put my name on it and done it very personalised. So it really probably doesn't hold any financial significance because of the fact that it has my name on it. But nevertheless, it's still a piece of computing history because I have both of the signatures. Now, Steve was also sent me a letter of provenance for it to prove that he signed the computer. So I do have a dated history for this if anybody was interested. Unfortunately, the Steve Jobs signature is a little bit more difficult because it was done for me to me by him, and I saw it with my own eyes and shook his hand and even gave him the permanent marker, the blue permanent marker to sign it with. So unfortunately, that's about the best you can do with his signature. I have actually tried to get it verified, but not. I was told that Steve didn't actually sign very many items, so it's very hard to find somebody who can authenticate his signature. But off the cuff, Steve Wozniak, who signed this lid, as I said, after Steve Jobs, sort of verbally gave me a bit of an idea that he believes that actually is authentic because, of course, he's seen Steve's signature. So there's the significance of that Apple II. Now, stepping back from that, I have one more computer to show you, which is my Macintosh 128 computer. Now, I got this one in 1986, I think. The Mac Plus had already been made and was out in the market at that stage, and these computers were really expensive. They were around about $5,500 Australian dollars when they came out, and I still owned my Apple II, and I actually had a couple of other computers after that which I still own too, an Apple II GS and a 2E at the time, but the Macintosh was the big rage in '84, and I always wanted one but couldn't afford it. Well, I was very fortunate that in 1986, when the Mac Plus came out, that people were getting rid of their old 128K Macintoshes and upgrading them to the Mac Plus. So I was able to snavel this one up at a very, very cheap price, and being the fastidious collector that I am, have kept this one as well, and it too is in perfectly working order. You're looking at, you're probably, for the pudent Apple people, they're looking at this video, you'll probably notice the 800K 3.5-inch floppy drive sitting next to it. I know that wasn't part of the system, but the only reason I have it on there now is because the 400K 3.5-inch floppy drive in the unit is starting to deteriorate, and I believe they are very, very, very hard to find parts for or to even replace or repair. So I'm not going to sit and fiddle with it. I decided just to put an external drive on and boot everything up from that to preserve the 400K in its original state. So there you go. There's the three computers for you to just as a quick explanation, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll now go and write up the description for you, and if you have any further information, please don't hesitate to contact me. Okay, see you later.